Hey everybody, Jay Young here from King Operating. If you will, go to kingoperating.com, our website, and learn more about the oil and gas business. Every Friday I do a newsletter and I do a video that will teach you something about the oil business. And if you want to know something about the oil business, send me a question and I'll go over those on our Friday newsletter. So kingoperating.com, learn more about our business and get involved.
The Jay Young Show is a weekly podcast featuring insightful discussions with anyone from big business CEOs, celebrities, to military heroes. Each interview is a personal conversation about business, life, and anything in between. And now, your host, Jay Young.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining the Jay Young Show today. Got a great guest for you today, Michael Molthan. And I tell you what, I'm really excited to interview him, to get to know more about him. He's gone through some struggles in his life, and this is what this show's all about. It's about giving back. It's about learning about struggles. It's about learning about what you need to do in life to get ahead. It's all about healthy, wealthy, wise. What do we need to learn? And there are struggles in life, and there are a lot of people that have had struggles. I've had struggles with alcoholism, as everybody knows me, and I haven't drank for 30 years, which I'm proud of that fact. It's been 30, something like that, my wife tells me. I have to do the math. It's almost 30 years, but I guess the older you are, the more years is kind of tick, 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 tick. But I'm really excited to have you on the show, Michael.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you, inviting me out here. It's an honor. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I like coming to different platforms because I have a disease of alcoholism. I have a disease of drug addiction. Jay, I process alcohol differently than normal people do. I process narcotics differently than normal people do.
What does that mean?
Well, what that means is that, for example, with alcohol, when alcohol touches my lips and goes down my throat and goes into my stomach, something happens. All right, the phenomenon of craving occurs, and I have an allergy, and I process alcohol differently, where my brain I start craving that I want more. And it also creates a euphoric feeling that makes a lot of stuff go away. It gets me in the now, and I want to stay there. So on top of that, addiction occurs, and I can't stop, and my life becomes completely unmanageable, and I'm willing to go to any lengths to keep the drink in me.
Wow. Kind of like what George Bush said. George Bush said, I drink 4 or 5 or 6 and I get thirsty.
That's exactly right. I always say, I'm a social drinker for about 8 seconds. And after that, I can't stop. And,
wow.
And that's the beautiful thing today is we can laugh about it. We can look back at our behaviors that what I used to do was just so bizarre and everything. And it's kind of like we laugh about it today going, golly, that was the solution to fear. That was really my solution to when I was anxious, was to do that. And so I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot in with this disease, and so I love coming on a show like yourself because it's very apparent that the disease of addiction does not discriminate. Right?
Right.
I mean, it's cunning, it's baffling, it's powerful. It doesn't discriminate. Alcoholism, drug addiction doesn't care if you're upper class, lower class. And when I speak, I always tell everybody, the difference between me and the man underneath the bridge is one thing, and that's the bridge. That's it.
Yeah.
And so this disease wants to kill us. So I want to spread the message to all demographics, all platforms, that there is a solution.
Right, great. So tell me about when you were growing up, and when did you start drinking or using drugs? Kind of where did it all start?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I'll never forget the direction of my lawnmower. I remember the clouds in the sky in Plano, Texas. I just turned 50 years old, so I've been in Dallas, Plano my whole life. I'm just a Dallas native. And I remember the direction of my lawnmower. I remember the barometric pressure. I remember the wind, the temperature, everything. And my dad came out, and who was not an alcoholic, and I've spilt more beer in one night than he's had his whole life. And he walked out with a Schlitz can with the pull top that you could pull off and flick out in the street. Remember those tops? But how detailed I am that I remember that. And I remember that when I drank some of that beer. He said, "Hey, you want a sip of beer? You want to be my beer drinking buddy?" And it was just a cool deal. It was nothing. It was harmless, And I drank this beer, and when the alcohol hit my stomach, something happened. My stomach just melted like icing, and I'll never forget that feeling. That we always talk about the word "something happened," and it stuck with me, and it was a spiritual awakening for me. It was like, wow, this is, and I started feeling what I thought was normal, and I'll never forget that day. And the reason why alcohol is so powerful to me is because I don't remember my first cheeseburger. I don't remember my first Dr. Pepper.
Right.
I don't remember my first bag of Skittles.
Right.
All right, things that I like, but I don't remember it.
Wow.
I remember my first drink, and for the rest of my life, I chased that first feeling, and I was willing to go to any length to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you in high school, so you go through high school, and then are you drinking in high school?
Yes, I'm drinking all the way throughout high school. The first day I get my license when I was 16 years old, I got an MIP, a minor in possession of alcohol. I got a ticket. And I was, people would ask me about drinking and doing drugs, because I was addicted to anything that was going to change the way I felt. And as I look back on it now, I know I'm able to say I know why I did the things I did. But yes, I drank all the way up, and I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. I grew up in West Plano at Glen Eagles Country Club in the men's locker room.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't grow up in the hood or anything like that. I was the other side, and so I always had access to money. I was very outgoing. Everybody loved me. I mean, everybody wanted to hang out with Michael. And then I grew up around real estate, and I grew up playing golf, and I grew up with very successful people, and I was wanting to be like this. So the men in the locker room trained me. They were my idols.
Right.
And some of them, not that they're bad people, it was just a wrong role model for me. And so that's how I grew up, and then I started getting consequences as a result of my disease. And I have a crazy story. I mean, I went straight from high school to the PGA Golf Tour. I was a caddy on the Pro Golf Tour for 5 years for one of the Lanny Watkins, one of the best golfers in the world, D.A. Weibring, and a lot of guys. And that was great for an alcoholic. It was great for a drug addict. And I was out there doing the Byron Nelson every single week of my life.
Right.
Could you imagine that for 5 years?
Yeah.
And so I was feeding my disease, and I was able to handle everything, and then consequences started happening as a result of my choice. Disease or choice, it's both for me.
Wow.
And so I had started having consequences, and my consequences became the now. And in 2012, I caught my very first, we call it dope charge. Got caught with a large amount of cocaine. And here's where I'll stop and where you can jump in and ask some more questions. But this is what I want to get across, is that in 2012, I got arrested, Jay, and they took me to Lou Sterrett. And it was a second-degree felony. And it scared me to death. This was my first mugshot. I'm walking around. I'm becoming that guy I said I would never be. I would never be that guy. I would never lose my family, my business, go bankrupt, be homeless, get arrested, get a DWI. I was becoming that guy. And I was in denial. But when I was locked up, it scared me to death. And I had an awakening. I said, I don't want to do this again. I'm scared. This got me, okay? And I need to get bonded out. And my family was running around, and they didn't know. This was all new to us. I got arrested, and I got a mugshot, and I was scared about that. That was going to be around the Park Cities in my mind.
Right.
I'm really not that important now I think about it, but back then I thought I was. And so when I bonded out, before I bonded out, I literally told me and God, whatever God was at the time, okay, I'm never doing this again. Never doing this again. When I got released, 8 hours later, I was drunk and high again.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Because I'm powerless over this, and I didn't know why I did the things I did. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
26 mugshots later, I sit here today with you.
Oh my gosh.
A new man.
26 mugshots.
27 total mugshots.
Oh my gosh.
That I did because I would not put the sword down.
Wow.
And
wow.
And so when the pain got bad enough, and I realized that the I kept hitting my head on this rock at the bottom. I kept hitting rock bottom. Rock bottom.
Man.
But the rock was the same rock every time.
Right.
And then I finally realized, what's this same rock doing here? And that rock all these times was God.
Wow.
And so I made the decision to hang out with the rock at the bottom and just get to know myself.
Wow. So what every time? So you're in the joint, loose stare it, and all of a sudden you get out and you're drunk again within hours.
Yep.
What made you do that, or what did you just run straight to the liquor store, or do you just? What happened?
Perfect question. Why are you doing the things you're doing, Michael?
And then you did it at 26, 27, 20.
Why do you continue doing
5,
this?
10.
I had the skills today and the tools today. No, okay. The answer is I was spiritually bankrupt.
Okay.
I had no relationship with God whatsoever.
Okay.
So I would always go back, and my God of my understanding was drugs and alcohol. Mm-hmm. And when someone says don't use that, I could not get that feeling. I was always chasing that. The first day I had that drink in the front yard of my house in Plano, right? When I was 10 years old, I was always chasing the, I never remember the, I don't ever remember that.
Right,
okay.
Right.
But the reason why I kept doing this, because I was spiritually bankrupt. I don't know how to process fear. Okay. When I get into fear, I get anxious, I get paranoid, I isolate, I get resentful, I get angry. All these feelings are so uncomfortable that in order to make those go away, when I drink alcohol and do drugs, it takes it away for just a second. All right.
Wow.
But then I keep pounding the chemicals on there to try to make it go away, and it doesn't go away. So it's very sick.
Wow.
So what I learned on 7/7/17, when I had my bright light spiritual awakening in prison, all right, is when I realized, I had the real one here. I mean, it was like Green Mile. I felt like flies were coming out of my mouth.
Oh, wow.
And I, for the first time, I put the sword down and I forgave everyone around me. And I realized that in order for God to use me, I had to set everyone free around me. And once I set everyone free around me, God set me free, and I was a new person. And that's the difference today, was forgiveness.
Wow. Forgiveness and forgiving everybody. And
that's right.
Just looking at yourself.
The number one offender for alcoholics and drug addicts is resentments.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a hard time processing fear and resentments when I'm in the disease and I don't have the tools.
Right.
Today I have tools, and the tools is one alcoholic working with another, one drug addict working with another, men work with men, and I have a fellowship that I get to talk to. I talk about it. Hey, I'm in fear. I'm in resentment. I'm having deep resentments right now, and my accountability partner or sponsor will look at me and say, okay, what role do you play in it? I'm like, wait a minute, I don't play a role in this. Yeah, you do. And we look at what role I play in it, and then I start practicing acceptance. I'm dealing with a horrible resentment as we speak right now.
Wow.
I'm feeling it. I'm processing it. I'm not a pleasure to be around right now at home. But I'm not toxic. I'm not dangerous. I'm not going to drink or do drugs. The thought hasn't even entered my mind, because I'm in recovery, and I'm processing, and I'm plowing through this the best I know how.
Still dealing with it.
Oh, yeah.
On a daily, hourly, minute basis, or
we both are.
Yeah.
We both are, and the way we handle fear is I'm so grateful I have a program today. There's a lot of men out there today that don't drink and do drugs, but they're in prison.
Right.
They're really struggling. Their work, I'm going to run this company. I'm going to be the best CEO ever. And they have a very successful company on paper, but behind closed doors, they're dead. Spiritually bankrupt, okay?
Right.
And I'm not talking about church spirituality. I got to be bigger than that. When it comes to religion, I'm an atheist. But when it comes to the Word of God and Jesus Christ, I'm all in. It works for me,
Right.
And so I see a lot of people that, and I can relate, we fill that vacuum in our soul with chaos, money, women, gambling, golf, food, sex, pornography. We're all addicts. We're just addicted to visible things that take care of my invisible problems.
Right. So you went through the 12 steps.
Yes, I did.
12-step program.
Yes, I did.
Any part stands out the most important for you?
Well, the only step I have to do perfect today is step 1.
Yeah.
Just don't drink,
Yeah.
right? And
Admit you have a problem.
That's right. And so this is great. So, and it's neat because you speak the language. We admit that we are powerless over drugs and alcohol, and as a result, my life has become completely unmanageable.
Right.
Right. And I understand that today. And then, step 2 is I came to believe there's a power greater than myself to restore me to sanity. So steps 1 and 2 are telling me I have a disease, right? It's telling me I'm sick. That gives me some hope. All right. Because if step 3 were the first step, deuces, I'd be out. Made a decision to turn my will and life for the care of God. I don't want to talk about God because my perception of the time of God was real dark, But once I started those first 2 steps and I was going to support group meetings and letting you teach me how to love myself, all right, then I started going, okay, you know what? I'm open to talk about this God deal because I haven't drank or did drugs in like 70 days, right? Just pretending here. And it's like, okay, I want a little more. And I sit down with you and you say, okay, well, step 3 is let's make a decision to turn our will and life over to the care of God as we understand Him. We get to create your God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you guys taught me how to do that, and then after I do that, I go do a moral inventory of my immoral behavior.
Wow.
Just like every business does, they do an inventory, right? You know, what's selling, what's not selling. What fruit in the fruit basket is rotten and stinky. Let's get rid of it so customers will come and buy the fruit, right?
Right.
And that's what an inventory is. And step 4 for everyone who's watching and listening. Step 4 is where I got to understand why I drank and did drugs. That's where I got to learn. That's why I do the things I do. This is why I do the things I do. I don't know how to process fear. I'm a very resentful person. I get very angry. I self-sabotage myself, And I got to learn that when somebody was doing something to me, they really weren't. They were just doing it, And it took another alcoholic to teach me that. Isn't that amazing?
That is
amazing. I drank and did drugs with drug addicts and alcoholics. I get sober and live this new life with drug addicts and alcoholics. And that's what's so powerful. Then the steps go on, and if you break them down, steps 1, 2, and 3 is trust God. 4 through 11 is we clean house. And then step 12 is we, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of this, we go spread the message.
Right.
And that whatever your spiritual gift is what you find out in the steps. Some of it may be just showing up to work. Some of it may be like what you and I do, speak, use our voice. And it's neat because the steps showed me what my character defects were, and God shows me that my character defects now are my assets.
Oh, wow.
And what that looks like is this tongue.
Right.
I'm a talker, as you can tell. And I used to talk and get what I wanted when I wanted it. Today, I talk and I share to the world what God's doing in my life today.
Wow, that's great. What a great story.
Thank you.
What a great story. And good to have you here. And it's also great that you see what happened or what caused it. You took accountability for it, and you said, hey. So when I went through treatment, I went 30 days treatment in El Paso.
Okay.
This is back in, I'll probably date myself, and I can't think of exact dates, like in 91 or 92. I was there, and there's a group of about 25 of us in a room. And I'll never forget this. We're on a round circle, a little place in El Paso, like a treatment center. And this guy was walking around, and he was an Indian guy, Sioux Indian, and he was walking around, and he took me out of the circle. And he put me right there, right next to him. He was standing across from me, and he's bigger than I was. So he's 6'5", 6'6", and 300 pounds or something. And he said, you know what? He said, and he started spitting on me too when he was talking. He was just so loud, and I'll never forget it. And I need to call and thank him for this.
Right.
But he said, you know what? You can never have alcohol hit your lips again. You should never have alcohol hit your lips again. And I didn't really think about it at the time. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. You're still in the treatment center in the first few days or whatever. I'm not really thinking. I'm thinking, yeah, I don't know why I'm here. And I'm the only decent one in here. Everybody else is messed up.
Right.
I'm the only one normal one here.
Right.
And
I'm here to get the heat off. Y'all are sick. I'm not.
Exactly.
I got you.
So, but he did. He said that, and I thought, man, okay, all right. So I got home, did some 12 steps, 30 meetings in 30 days. Went through the whole thing, and then about a year and a half later, I was in California with a client. It was hot, playing golf, and he handed me a beer.
Wow.
And client, hot, beer, okay, just a beer.
Right.
Well, that night I got so drunk. I mean, I was drinking beer, wine, champagne, anything, whiskey. My old days, went right back into it.
Immediately, right?
Oh, my gosh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's our story.
So about a year and a half later, something like that. This is in 93, like the end, December 31st, 1993, I believe, is pretty close to the date. And at that point, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm not going to drink again. I'm not going to drink again. January 1st was my first time that I did not drink. And because I thought about that, God telling me,
right,
you can't let it touch your lips. It's like the George Bush in your story.
Right.
I mean, once you get one in you, man, it's all on, right? We're going to go out and we're going to have a party.
That's right.
We're going to have fun. And sabotaging your old feelings and people that I've cared about, it's not as big a deal because I'm having fun and you should come along and have fun too. But that obviously is self-destructing, obviously, you know that. But I really did think about that a lot. I thought, man, I just can't do the first drink, and I know that today.
And that's it. After I take that first drink, the choice is over, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I mean, that's beautiful what you just said. That's our language. That's what we do. The difference between a social drinker and an alcoholic is that for the social drinker, the social's more important than the drink.
Right.
Playing golf was more important than the drink.
Right.
But you and I take that first beer on the golf course. Dude, we're off to the races. We play golf on Monday. We have our first beer at the golf course. We come home on Friday and get mad at everybody for questioning us for disappearing for 5 days, right?
Exactly.
And so, but that's beautifully said.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your sobriety.
Well, thank you.
This removes the stigma. We're not bad people trying to get good.
Right.
We're sick people trying to stay well.
Right.
And that's what alcoholism and drug addiction recovery is all about.
Right. And I know there's a lot of people that listen to this that'll think the same thing is, well, I could just have one or two. Matter of fact, I went to treatment because I dated a girl that worked for TGI Fridays at the time, and she told me that some of her bartenders went to a class to learn how to drink 2 or 3 and stop.
Wow.
I'm like, man, that's what I want to do. I'm ready. So I walked into that treatment center going, hey, I'm here to drink 2 or 3 and stop, because I was with people that could drink 1 or 2 and 3 and just stop. And I thought, man, that would be awesome, because, you're having, a nice wine with dinner and they'd have one glass and that would be it. And I thought, man, that would be good. But yeah, it doesn't happen to people like us.
I always tell everybody, I got into recovery. I went to Betty Ford in 2002. All right. And I got out of the penitentiary in 2017. All right. Because I was trying to do it my way. Mm-hmm. And you're right. I went to Betty Ford trying to become a normal drinker. Well, guess what I did? I drank normal all day, every day, and every night. Okay, that's normal drinking to me, right? And it's a horrible disease. And for any listeners that are listening right now, that I got a company, I got a car, I got a wife, I've got kids. My story's not as bad as yours, Michael. Not yet. Mm-hmm. I promise you, it's coming. We don't drink up. Okay, we drink down, and for some reason we always end up at the lake. You know what I mean? We drink down, we end up at the lake, living behind the bait shop in the Suburban with a net over the window to keep the bugs out, and thinking that this is normal and this too shall pass, right?
Right, exactly.
And that's the disease, because the disease tells you and me we don't have a disease.
Wow.
The disease tells us in our own voice, it's just one beer.
Right.
You're playing golf, man.
Right.
You deserve this.
Right.
You deserve this. No, I deserve to play golf, and I deserve to live.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the beautiful thing about recovery.
Great. That's awesome. That's great. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. But, man, I tell you what, this message is powerful. And if this could help one person or 2 people, man, it's worth everything we've done. And I know that's what you love doing. You love talking about it.
I do.
Talking about it and maybe helping other people.
I do. And
anybody you've helped recently, that not names obviously, but
every show.
Anybody that has said anything that you anonymous?
No. Yeah, we do.
Stories?
Absolutely. We I've had moms reach out to me. to ask for help. I've had moms give me success stories of their kids literally handing needles to them and quitting. I have people that go to treatment as a result of the show every single day. I have 2 people literally that feed messages on Facebook.
Wow.
Because people reaching out asking for help. We have a treatment center that's our title sponsor of the show, of M2 The Rock. Kim Francis. Kim Francis has even reached out to me saying, and that's the great thing about it. It's like, I don't know anything about this, but you know what? I know someone who does. And I remember she's done it a couple of times, reached out and said, listen, I got someone here, someone there. They're reaching out for help. And I said, hey, contact M2. And we don't know each other, but we have a common goal. And I tell them to simply do this. Go to a support group meeting. If you're a man, get with a man in recovery and let him love you.
That's great. That's awesome. And I've been through it, and I've seen people and have taken people there as well. And Kim's right now telling us that we've got to wrap up, and we're under a time crunch. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So
Yes.
Your favorite vacation, when you go on vacation, do you like the beach or the mountains?
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yes, I love the beach. I like warm weather.
Yeah, that's
I don't
great.
do cold.
And also, do you text message a lot or phone calls? Would you prefer one or the other?
Text message.
Text message?
Yeah,
a lot of text message.
Text message. I'm pretty much a loner. I got a lot of followers, but I'm a loner. I like to just be alone, which sometimes is dangerous.
Yeah. I agree with this, but you can always reach out. You can text message somebody and say, hey, I'm having a thought or two.
There you go.
And they can catch you, which is awesome.
But I don't text emotions. If it's emotions, I will make a phone call.
Yeah, good thought there.
Yeah.
That's a great thought. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Pancakes?
Yeah.
Good. I love pancakes. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs. Oh,
yes,
good.
I love dogs.
Well, I tell you what, thank you very much for coming on the show.
My man.
I am excited about this. I can't wait for it to air and us to have people coming back to us, and hopefully we can help other people.
We'd love to have you on our show to share your story.
Hey, great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for the Jay Young Show this week. And wrapping up, Michael Molthan, what a great guy, and a message that everybody needs to know, because you're not only going to be affected by this somehow directly or indirectly, it's out there and it will be everywhere. And we want you to make sure that you get the message that there is a way for help. Number one, admit you have a problem. And number two, talk to somebody about it and get help today. So thank you very much, Michael, for coming in again, and we'll wrap up the show. Thank you very much.